There, there we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Wiza, welcome back to Mayor's Monday, WSAU, WSAU.com. We missed you last month.
You did.
We genuinely
That
did.
that's nice. I apologize. We had some things come up that I wasn't able to make the university move-in day, but everything was very successful. We've got a bustling community again with the students back in session. I have had an opportunity to meet with the chancellor and some of his staff to make sure that the move-in went smoothly, and for the most part, it did. There's always a few hiccups,
Hmm.
reminding the citizens, of course, that you've got hundreds and hundreds of new people in town. So be a little patient if they are hesitant at a corner. They're trying to still find their way around. But generally, it's been great, and the students are back in session and learning to become smart people so they can take over for you and I when we're done.
I'll allow it. The thing that we missed most is, during the course of my interview with Chancellor Gibson, we had people that were trying to move a 75-inch flat screen TV into the dorms, and they specifically requested that the mayor help. They said, we were told the mayor is going to be here and we need
Yeah.
him. We want him to carefully place this TV where it should be. And, you weren't there. So,
Well, hopefully that didn't affect the Packer game viewing when that happened. So I don't know, 75 inches in a dorm? Are you kidding me? Back when I was in school in 1985, 86, in that area, boy, we were happy to have a TV in our room. There
oh,
was
of
a
course.
community TV in the basement, but they were the
Hmm.
big tube TVs,
Hmm.
securely fastened to the wall in a steel cage because I don't know, like somebody was going to put it in their pocket and walk off with it, I
Right.
guess. But we had my roommate Paul and I had an old council TV that we carried up to the fourth floor
Oh,
of Rhodes
wow.
Hall, my second year there. And we had a bigger room because it was one of those end rooms. He was an
Sure.
orientation assistant or something. And yeah, so we had room for it. But boy, I don't think I could carry myself up 4 flights of stairs anymore.
Yeah.
So
It,
I guess
it's,
times have changed.
no doubt about it. And again, I love the fact that we sometimes are able to get the two of you together in the same room to talk about what that relationship means between the city and the university. We'll look forward to that next year at some
Yeah,
point.
well, and then you don't even have to wait till next year. The chancellor and I work together on both
Hmm.
professional projects and socially. So we've
Hmm.
got homecoming this coming weekend. I'm sorry, this
Yeah,
past weekend we had the
indeed.
homecoming game. So the chancellor and I were both at the game and the kickoff that preceded the game. I don't think they call it tailgating like they do for Packer parties, but let's call it the pregame socializing. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, lots of fun.
Exactly. And yeah, we'll look forward to what's to come for the rest of the year for UWSP. But right now, I
Yeah.
mean, in your more immediate future, I'm sure in your office right now, at least a lot of the focus is on the upcoming election. Of course, ballots are out for those people that have requested them early. Of course, that means you've got reminders about how to properly return those ballots to the clerk's office so that way they
Right.
are indeed counted on
Right.
November 5th, and a few other election reminders as well.
Yeah, and early voting, in-person early voting starts next week, I believe. And yeah, it's so the process is out there. The absentee ballots have gone out in the mail. They can be returned either in person at the clerk's office by you. You can't have someone else drop it off for you. You can send it in the mail if you can't make it down to the clerk's office. Or we do have a securely fastened drop box with 3 cameras on it in front of City Hall that can be used if you're unable to get to the clerk's office or mail it in. Of course, election day is coming up on November 5th. We've got all our polling locations. Our poll workers are in the process of getting trained. Voting machines are being tested. And we really hope that everything goes smoothly. We'd appreciate everybody's help in registering early. You can register online, so you don't have to take the time to do so at the polling location, but you are certainly welcome to do that. We'll need to see, of course, ID, and we can get you registered at the polling location, but you're really saving a lot of time for everybody if you register early. Speaking of immediate duties, today marks the 1 year anniversary of some friends of ours. The Wooden Chair downtown, which is a breakfast and
Mhm.
lunch place, is great. They're celebrating 1 year in business with the new owners today.
Mhm.
Tracy and Adam have done a tremendous job there, so congratulations to them. This week is I don't want to hesitate to say a little slower, but we've got a lot going on. We've got a few things on the personnel committee that's going to be coming up next Monday, and then we're still deep in the process of getting our budgets in order. We're hoping to have the capital budget approved this month on the 21st at our council meeting. And the operational budget will be presented later this month, and looking for approval for that in November. It took a lot of work from a lot of very skilled and passionate and caring people to try and keep our levy at a 0% increase. We've asked every department for the fifth straight year for a 0% increase in their operational expenditures. And that's just to make sure that we have enough money available with minor small increases in taxes so we can pay our employees properly and make sure we get all of the things done that we need to get done before we start looking and adding new things to the budget process.
Mhm.
So if anybody's interested, the capital budget has been online at stevenspoint.com and it will continue to be online throughout this entire process. The operational budget will be available after presentation. And if anybody has comments, contact your alder, contact my office. Anyone at City Hall will be able to help you with this. This coming weekend, we've got a lot of things going on. So
Mhm.
I can tell you that we have, first of all, we're having the Disabled American Veterans Conference in town at the Holiday Inn on Friday. We want to thank them, of course, for their service. And then Martin Machining is also celebrating 40 years on Friday. Martin Machining is a family-owned machine shop, a great employer for the city, lots of skilled labor there. On the 12th of October, my favorite day, the Shriners are having their annual craft show and entertainment at the Arnett Lions out in Arnett. Central Waters is having their river run. That takes place Saturday morning. And then, of course, the Stevens Point mayor, is my understanding, is having a birthday on October 12th. All of these things are happening because of the mayor's birthday. We're even having an open house at the fire department
Right.
on October 12th. They say that's for the upcoming referendum question that'll be on the
Oh
ballot,
boy.
but we all know it's to celebrate the mayor's birthday. And Michael, I would like to invite you down specifically
Okay.
to come in and enjoy a piece of cake with me. We'll
Sure.
figure out where to go. I even have a friend of mine from Scotland who's coming down. He's going to be hanging out with us Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. He's got to go
Mhm.
back to Fond du Lac to visit some other friends. But Willie's going to be in town for the weekend. And if you have not yet met Willie, Willie is the epitome of a true Scotsman and a good friend. You probably, if you follow the social media on my page, you'll see
Mhm.
that Willie has one of the mayor pens and he takes it
Oh yeah.
around to all of he's retired. So he does a lot
Sure.
of geocaching, a lot of travel, and Willie has a tendency to send me an awful lot of pictures of him in the pen and his travel companion Weebeard.
Sure. Love it. Hey, I'm not one to turn down a piece of cake for twice a year. So yeah, why not? But yeah, you mentioned a lot of things in there, and of course, most importantly is the mayor's birthday. So we always want to acknowledge that and say happy birthday, Mr. Mayor, even though we are a little early here. But the one of the more important things in there, though, for residents, of course, you were talking about the budget, and
Mhm.
you are asking residents for extra money for the fire department to help hire some new firefighters. And that open house is going to be on the 12th. But just give us the Cliff Notes version of why the city is bringing this forward at this time.
So we have been unable to increase staffing we haven't increased staffing at the fire department in a couple of decades. A fair amount of that has to do with levy limits that the state has imposed on municipalities, allowing you to only spend the amount equal to net new construction. So I'll give you an example. Last year, we had 1.3% in net new construction. That means you take all the new stuff in the city, subtract all the stuff that got torn down, and that's your net new construction. And you can only increase your levy by that amount. Well, as you know, the cost of living is 3.3% this year, I think. So when you can increase your spending by 1.3, but your cost of living goes up by 3.3, what does that tell you? We're losing, in that case, 2%. So there's a challenge getting the funds to continue the services as we have. Hiring staff is always a challenge because that's operational spending. The fire department is asking for permission from the citizens of Stevens Point to increase the levy to fund 9 new firefighter paramedics. And we say 9, that seems like an awful lot, but it's not really, because if you think about it, they run 3 shifts. The firefighter paramedics in Stevens Point run a 24-hour shift, and they have 3 shift groups. So I can work 24 hours today, you work 24 hours tomorrow, I come in the next day or something along those lines. So you have 3 shifts. This would add 3 firefighter paramedics to each of the shifts. And you don't even get 3 full people there because people are sick, they take vacations, there's training involved. So you're really only getting about 2 equivalent full-time firefighters per each shift. But the cost of that is about $100,000 per person. We just can't fit that into the budget with the levy limits and the growth that we're allowed. So we're asking the taxpayers to consider the need and asking them to vote to, in this case, raise their own taxes so we can fund those 9 firefighter paramedics. Lots of communities have been doing that. I think Wausau is probably not, I don't want to speak for them, but I know they got a grant.
We are not far behind. I can tell you that. We are not far behind. Nothing's official yet, but the discussion has been happening.
I know the fire department, especially the chief and some of the union members, have been having public meetings, coffee clutches, if you will. The open house is just one piece of these meetings. We did a video with the fire chief. You can find that at stevenspoint.com, kind of explaining the process and how it's the need has grown over the years. So while the staffing hasn't increased, the number of calls for service has significantly increased, more than doubling in the same time frame. So the firefighter paramedics are handling more calls with the same amount of staff. And as the community grows, those calls are going to continue to grow. And if we don't answer the need, I don't even want to think about what might happen, Michael.
Absolutely. So where do you want the residents to go for more information then, so that way they can make the informed decision for themselves when they head to the polls on November 5th?
Sure. I would say your questions can be directed to the Stevens Point Fire Department. You could watch the video with me and the fire chief. It's called Talking Point, and it's available on our YouTube channel. Or if you go to stevenspoint.com, you can search it there. Attend the open house or one of the other public meetings, informational sessions that the fire department and the chief are planning. Those are going to be listed on the Stevens Point website, or the Stevens Point Fire Department has their own social media. You can search it there too.
Absolutely. And again, we'll be keeping an eye on that referendum and several others in the area when the results come in on November 5th. One more thing before we let you go. You described this to me earlier, and I kind of said, oh, you're taking this is back on the table. You said it never was off the table. The paper is just getting reshuffled to the top here. The discussion are between the city and the county about the city hall property, or the city hall half, I guess you could say, of the building there in downtown. Where are we at on the city possibly abandoning their half and turning the whole thing over to the county?
Well, first of all, let's not say abandon, right? We are doing this strategically with the county. The county has been needing a new courthouse, a secure courthouse, for more than 20 years. I remember as a county board supervisor, us talking about the need for a more secure, remodeled, a safer courthouse. And it's been a challenging discussion. We're at the point now where the building that we're in, the Stevens Point County City building, we own about 27% of this building. The county owns the rest. They had asked, and it's always been on the table, if the county, if the city would be willing to relocate city hall offices and allow the county to utilize this entire building to remodel, make the courthouse secure, one point of entrance, close off some of the windows, provide a secure access for the judges to come in and out where they're not literally walking by defendants or victims. It's a tough situation. Nothing has happened so far, knocking on wood.
Mhm.
But boy, the opportunities are there. And even in Marathon County, you go to the Marathon County Courthouse, you open the door and you are immediately in front of a couple of deputies and you go through a screening process, very similar to what you'd see at the TSA in the airport.
Mhm.
Well, this doesn't happen in this building until you get upstairs into the courtrooms. That is a security challenge. And more importantly, you've got victims, witnesses, family members, suspects or defendants, their attorneys, the prosecuting attorneys, the judges, all sharing the same hallways, the same restrooms.
Mhm.
Um, there's an opportunity there for things to go very wrong, and that puts a fair amount of stress and responsibility on the people that are working here every day. So we want to make sure that they have their ability, and because of that, we're going to have a Judge Trish Baker and County Board Chair Ray Reeser and hopefully John Pavelski present to council and tell them a little bit more about the process that we've been working on for the better part of 2 years now. When you're a county board supervisor or a city alderperson, you don't you're not immersed in it 24/7
Mhm.
or even 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
So we want to make sure that they understand all of the work that both of our teams have been putting in to try and find a solution. So yes, city hall may move. We're not leaving downtown, that's for certain. But city hall may move to give the county an opportunity to utilize this whole building, keeping the courthouse and those ancillary services downtown, and hopefully finding a solution to the dilemma that's been occurring for the better part of more than 20 years.
So this is still in the planning stages right now. You don't have any sort of proposal right now to throw at either the county board or the city council, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a solid proposal, but we have the city council has made a verbal commitment that if necessary, we would vacate our portion of City Hall and find a new site. We have been actively looking for a new site. We've got a couple of opportunities, but council's going to have to make a decision, hopefully in the next month or two, on what that new site would be downtown. And that lets the county start their clock ticking on getting designs done and having the engineers work with the framework of this building to remodel the
Mhm.
courthouse. And then all of those things are going to cost money. So we'll have to figure out how we're paying for them and then start that construction process. In the most ideal world, you're probably still looking at 3 or 4 years at best before these things are able to happen.
Oh, Mayor Mike, we always appreciate the time. Again, happy birthday. Enjoy it safely on Saturday. We'll look forward to talking to you again next month.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. Have fun.